All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Myself up. Can barely hear myself. Da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, that should be better. That should be a little bit better. I'm not getting volume. Huh. That's weird. Yeah, here we go. Boost these up. All right. Yeah, that's better. That's better. And see if we're going to wait on Kenneth Thomas. He should be in. If he's the number one troll, it shouldn't have to wait too long. Boy, I don't know. Hey, what's going on, Bitter Truth? Nah, Bitter Truth. I don't think that's your name. Yeah, he got a lot of grown up little boys crying for attention, and Kenneth Thomas is doing something that a 15 or 16-year-old might do, but he's a grown man, which is something I said a long time ago when I was young. If you get a man that's close to 30, he hasn't had any children. It's called arrested development. They don't. It's hard to develop if you don't have children around you. Oh yeah. Oh, you singing Lionel Richie? Yep, I got it. After I got it. No, Foxfire, I don't get these cats. So he wants to be heard, and since he wants to troll, I figured just like any ants, if you put food out, they should be along. Because you have all these guys, man. Um, they're not married. They really don't have any long term relationships. They don't have any children, and I don't know if they're lonely or they're unfulfilled or they didn't have a father or what. But the thing is, they're acting like uh, little boys in their parents, in their bedroom because they're engaging in teenage behavior. Now, this brother Kenneth Thomas, we got it all straight. I mean, really, you're not really earning any money because you only got what? You only have 70 subscribers. You can't earn any money. You're really not getting any attention because when you do get attention, you don't have anything to say. Well, if he comes along, I don't know if he'll come. I don't know if he'll come because I don't have his email. Yeah, yeah, that's a funny thing. They don't have any content. That's the whole thing. They don't have no content. You get attention, and when somebody goes to your channel to see what you have to say, you don't have anything to say. No, even a pussy can be a mature pussy. Okay, he's a little boy. You have little boys running around screaming and throwing tantrums, and you hear them. He said, okay, they should be adult. They should understand manhood. They should understand um, keeping your word and having a code. And they can, regardless of what you say about Pookie and Ray Ray, regardless of what you say about Pookie and Ray Ray, okay. Pookie and Ray Ray deal with reality. You know, if if uh if Pookie does a do-low and he gets arrested, he gets hit upside the head, he ain't gonna go crying like I shouldn't have got hit or why you picking on me. He gonna go in, do his time, shut up, he gonna come out. Same thing with Ray Ray. They're not gonna sit up and whine and jack off, and jack on other people. They actually out there trying to make it something happen. And if they do, really, well, I don't know what it would in the Midwest, but here the Pookies they don't cry, they go to jail, man. They're out there on the street. But these cats, man, they're in their bedroom, man. They're talking about Pookie and Ray Ray. They're in their bedroom, and they actually engaging in worse behavior than Pookie and Ray Ray. It's like my 5 year has more of a honor code than some of these guys. It's well, I don't. You know, I have to blame the people that raised them, which is us. I have to blame the people that raised them, which is us, because we thought we thought we were giving them something where they could actually grow up. We thought that we were actually giving them a leg up. We should have made them struggle more. We should have made them struggle more. We didn't make them struggle enough. We didn't make them earn enough. So we didn't build any character in them. So, just like I told my son, I said, especially for a man can't develop without heat. I said a man is not a clay pot. Okay, a man is steel, and you can't forge steel without a lot of heat. And we haven't given our millennial male children enough heat to actually make them forge steel. You mean if you want hard tempered steel that's not going to bend under stress, you got to give them a lot of heat. Well, the drug game, it was the drug game was always whack. It was just that very little narrow window where the drug game was actually profitable. And the people that made the money got in and got out. It's not profitable anymore. And especially these opioids, man. I tell all black dudes, stay away from these opioids because you ain't gonna just get time, man. You might get the death penalty because they even convicting white women of homicide for people overdosing on this stuff. So if you know they're going after white women, you ain't got no. You said you coming? Oh, Captain, you coming to L.A. But you coming to L.A. tomorrow for Captain Kirk? Nigger free in 2018. It's kind of hard to stay nigger free, Foxfire. But I'm noticing that any kind of stress, any kind of uh, situation where you actually put these I'm saying kids because I want to call them adults. I want to call them adults. See, put these kids under stress, man. They either run or they buckle, and that's what I'm seeing now. They either run or they buckle, and and then when they can't get their way, it's like a cry for attention. You know, the dude's crying for attention, for people to come to his channel and look. He gets on. It's like, man, have you have you even tried? Have you even tried to develop yourself? Have you even tried to develop yourself? Oh, bring my mom. Okay, okay, she's 70. Okay. Where you guys gonna stay? Captain Kirk. Where you guys gonna stay? You guys gonna stay by the beach, or are you gonna go downtown? Where you gonna stay? Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, I think the opioid. Uh, The opioid, they're gonna crack down on that because it's killing too many white folks and it's getting out of control. And all the senators and congressmen are, well, I don't care about him stalking me. Stalking me. If you got something to say it. It's kind of hard to stalk somebody when you got less than 100 subs. All you're not even stalking. All you're doing is crying for attention. But when somebody gets there, if all you got is somebody else's comment, all you got is you trying to make fun of somebody else, and you're not funny. It's one thing trying to get attention. It's another thing. I thank you, Jenazone. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, we've been trying to set up a black patriarchy for about 100 years, man. It doesn't look like we're gonna get it done. You're just gonna be there one day, man. Okay, so what are you coming for, Captain Kirk? I mean, what are you coming for? Or are you just there to visit? Or are you just flying in, flying out? Or are you gonna actually see something? Yeah, legal weed is here to stay, and it's gonna be hard to trap. I don't know. I don't even know if the dude's gonna show up. I want to give him his attention. I want to give him his 15 minutes of fame, since that's what he wants. Because he keeps calling people out and saying stuff. I want to give him his 15 minutes of fame. I want to find out about him and find out what's in his head. I don't think he wants to be exposed like that. Well, Kid Organic has to worry about keeping his channel up. Kid Organic pisses everybody off. This is why his channel keeps getting taken down. Which you should do better at production. Nah, well, more like an intervention, cats, rather than an interview. Well, I mean, Kid Organic, he had when I make commentary, especially Kid Organic didn't like what I said about the millennials, even though it was a joke. But the thing is, it was a joke, but it's also very true, which is why so many millennials took exception to it. Um, Ken Organic goes off the rails, but he's part of SYSBM, so I don't really bother him that much. So even if he does talk about him, I kind of leave it alone. Well, I wish they would. If you're talented enough to actually be on YouTube, you really don't have to beef with anybody. When all you do is beefing with somebody, that means you don't have anything to fall back on. You have nothing. Because I booted him. And I invited War Stories on before I booted him. War Stories wants to cuss everybody out. He's got nothing, and when you actually um, talk about his, you actually get him to talk about what he wants or talk about what he plans to do. He starts yelling and screaming. And I gave War Stories about 4 or 5 chances and said, "Look, dude, so I don't want to block you. I said, but if you come on and talk to me, find out where you're at, I won't block you." But he decided he didn't want to do that. Yeah, he used to wild out on the Saturday streams. But the thing is, nobody actually wants to come in one on one, where everywhere it's just you. Everybody wants to come in on a stream. and go back and forth with the panel. When one on one, you can't hide. Hey, Donnell, what's happening? Nah, just trying to do some housekeeping. But I can answer questions while we're waiting on Kenneth if he actually comes, because I got other shit to do. Oh, is he in the house? If he's in the house, no, I'm not going to do a panel stream. That's why his name is on the title. When there's somebody's name is on the title, it's a special invitation. Well, let's see. Let me check my email. See if he's actually going to come. Kiara, you as far as I've looked, you haven't been blocked on my as far as I'm looking, you haven't been blocked. I have to go back and look at it. If it happened, I didn't do it. Uh, it's I would say it's less than 20%. If we talk about bombing, the last time he called himself striking, he got embarrassed, and I don't really think that the generals actually want to take on the Russians because the Russians are pretty pissed off about the last attack. I think they killed like 200 Russians, and I don't think they're up for starting a nuclear war, not over Syria. No, Black Torch is not a beef. I wish it was a beef. I wish a lot of these guys did really have a beef, and they don't. I wish they were capable of having a beef. No, the U.S. No, the U.S. will not back off. The U.S. is not backed off. They won't admit that they lost. That's the problem with the U.S. and Syria. Syria was about forming a fire break in the Middle East. So in other words, they're right in the middle. So if you make Syria a failed country, it's basically a fire break in the Middle East because eventually Iraq will side with the BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperative. They're going to go to China's side. Basically, Afghanistan's probably going to go. Pakistan's already gone. Turkey's already gone. Um, so basically, they don't want to let go of Syria because if they let go of Syria, then the Saudis will be isolated. And if the Saudis are isolated, the Saudis might flip. They don't have the. We don't have. They don't have the money to build a. You spent all the military wealth you probably can, and you can't project power that far out. Hey Kendra. Hey Kendra. Don't ever say that you are not attractive, okay? Because I saw you on a live stream, and I was looking. I said, wait a minute. I was looking for this ugly little woman, and I kept seeing your picture. I said, where's Kendra? Looking for this ugly little woman. I said, Kendra lying. I said, Kendra told me she was unattractive. I said, that's not true. I was never with John MacArthur's church. My parents were. So I never joined. So I couldn't be with something I never joined. I wouldn't know. They probably do. So where are you going to go to get your hamburger, though, Captain Kirk? Depends. The hamburger case kind of different depending on where you go. You know, In and Out tastes different from Five Guys. This tastes different from um, Fat Burger. So I don't think they taste that much different. The South hamburgers don't taste that much different. Yeah, you keep saying it. You keep saying she's on it. I said, wait a minute. You said, Kendra, it talks like she looks like a troll. I said, yeah. I said, she's attractive. I said, okay. Because I was looking for this ugly little woman and I didn't see her. And then they said, oh, they said, I said, oh, she's been lying to us all along. She, yeah. Well, Cats is just, yeah, Cats just has that baby face. So she's gonna get carded for the rest of her life. Yeah, it is. Well, so is In and Out. I would go In and Out. If you're gonna come here to LA, you might as well get In and Out. Unless you're gonna go over on Crenshaw and go to a Quick and Split. But if you go to Quick and Split over on 42nd and Crenshaw, get the ice cream. Everybody goes to Quick and Split for the ice cream. Yeah, there's rare earths all over the place. It's just trying to get to them. Nobody's going to go in an ocean to get anything from Japan with that radiation. Afghanistan probably has more. Afghanistan and Congo probably has the biggest shitload of rare earth metals, which is why the U.S. doesn't want to give up Afghanistan. And well, hey, it's different taste, but In and Out is shit here. Depends on where you go. Depends on where you go. The mining, they're starting to mine again in Zimbabwe. There's stuff all over the place. The thing is, mining is difficult because setting up the infrastructure is kind of hard. But Zimbabwe is starting to mine again. Well, South Africa is always good for mining. Angola, if you can actually get there and set up, but Angola has a lot of corruption. Um, because In and Out is basically a California franchise, and at the very best, I think they've at the very best, you want a good In and Out. The farthest you should go is Nevada, is Las Vegas. Yeah, I say Kendra's been, because Kendra made us think like she was just horrible looking, and she's not. She's actually attractive. Yeah, down the coastline, that's Highway 1. Nice trip if you got especially if you got a convertible and it's warm. It's a nice trip. Well, yeah, you got to try the original. Orange County's okay. It's kind of plastic, but Orange County's okay. Orange County's where most of the amusement parks are. Mining is very expensive. Mining is extremely expensive. That's how come it has to be. You know, it has to be something that it will actually pay off. Mining is extremely expensive. That's like very few people actually do it. That's like you have to have very good engineers and surveyors to actually find that stuff before you actually start to dig in. Because man, you spend millions of dollars digging a hole and don't come up with nothing, man. You find yourself broke real quick. Oh, you're gonna interview him? Well, tell us. Well, you can ask him how he got the name Brother X, and how he got involved in the community. You can ask him that. It's probably a good story. I don't know. I don't know if he'll show up. The last time Kenneth Thomas was on, he was humble as he was. The last time, the last time he was on, I'm trying to find when he was on last time because he gave his word that he would stop all this crap. Yeah, well, Black Torch. The thing is, you know how expensive engineering a mine is. That's expensive, man. And a lot of companies have gone broke. So if you want, just to get the money, you got to give out a perspective. You got to have all your data all collected before you even dig the hole, and all the known stuff is all the well, me and Brother X did have a collab. I think I was on with him for like maybe 3 hours. It was a while back. I always have problems getting on his live stream and connecting. That's the only reason I'm not on there more. Because the ladies, my ladies are always on there every week. Yeah, you can mine in space. The thing is, how do you get there? There's plenty of asteroids out there to mine. But how do you get there? Number one, and number two, do you have robots do it for you, or do you have people? And then after you get there, you get it out there, get out there and get it. How do you bring it back? Do you process it, bring it back to be processed here? Do you process it there and then bring back the ores and minerals? What do, Captain Kirk? Like I said, the expanse is probably. I already talked about it. With me, it wouldn't be people. Well, yeah, there's probably what is like 50 Earths worth of minerals out there amongst the asteroid belt. Space elevator. I don't. I don't see how practical a space elevator actually is. It really doesn't make. To me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. When I first saw it, eh, but it seems more dangerous to me than anything else. It'd have to be light because it's going to have a lot of stress. To go up that high and with the rotation of the Earth, that's a lot of stress. No dilithium crystals for you. Let's see. So, what would you say to people who think Elon Musk is full of shit? He's not full of shit. He's absolutely right. But the thing is, he's trying to get there first. The Chinese are actually trying to do that. That's how come they want to. The reason you want a Mars base is not to colonize Mars. Really, the reason you want a Mars base is because that's the closest planet to the asteroid belt, and it probably won't behoove you to process the asteroids or whatever you're getting from the asteroids on Mars. So that's where you would set up your factories. Katie Strong, appreciate it. Okay, something that's been bothering me. I was wondering if I could do a video, or if I could do what is it, on how females are, how females are considered minorities if they're literally the majority on the. Oh, they're a protected class. Um, Actually, they're a protected class. They're a protected class because they want to tamp down the males. I actually did videos talking about that in Feminize America. It's either on my black. I know it's. I posted two of them here on my Ibmore channel, and I posted three of them on my three or four of them on my Black Gnostic Speaks channel. So I actually talked about that. I probably need to. We're supposed to go further, but basically um, they wanted to tamp down the baby boomer males. So they wanted to re-socialize the males. So they wanted to take the aggression and the masculinity out of the males and bring up the aggression and masculinity of the females. So if you're going to do that, you have to protect them because physically they can't compete against males. So you're going to bring a lot of females into male spaces. You're going to have a lot of violence protection in there. You're going to have sexual harassment protection in there, all that stuff that you need to protect females in the environment where you send them into a male environment. So if you want them to compete in the male environment, you're going to have to you're going to have to you're gonna have to protect them. So all those basically want to send women into male environments and have them become more male-like. But to do that, you have to protect them because physically they can't compete with males. So all that stuff that all the laws and stuff that come along with it, they're basically them trying to replace the females with place the males with female leadership and female because they would rather have the females who were more less likely to overturn a society. Females depend on the society. Males are more likely to start a revolution and overturn it, which they thought there was going to happen in the '60s for a whole host of reasons. Yeah, they have anti. Yeah, yeah, the Chinese have had it for a while. It doesn't take much to bring down a satellite. You take about maybe 15 ball bearings at high speed. You can bring down a satellite. Doesn't take much. But everybody has a moratorium. Yeah, I mean, yeah, feminized America. If you look that up, I did about yeah about three videos about 15 minutes apiece, about 45 minutes. If that's not sufficient, then we tell me what you need. But I have explained it. And Cerulean looked at it. He agrees. Cerulean's a better, that's his shit, which is social science. He actually looked at it and examined it. And he found out the same thing I found out. So it's pretty much on the money. I even talked to Doctor Johnson, and he looked at it. He agreed because it's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing that makes sense. In other words, you don't actually start to put all that money and time into programs or into re-socializing a whole population of people unless you have a very good reason, and you have to have a very good reason. And if you look at demographics and certain other circumstances, I actually explained. If you look at I actually explained, but if you look at some of my demographic videos, I probably have to put it all together because it's all scattered, and people have people kind of get lost. I probably have to go back and revisit it and actually make it more like a class outline in a book. I think Dr. Johnson told me that's what I need to do. Um, make an outline and actually layer it like a class so people can actually understand it better. Iran's not going to get any because they don't need any because they have a protection pact with China and Russia, so they don't need any. Basically, I do believe North Korea and South Korea within the next 5 to 10 years will become one country again because it doesn't make any sense at this stage of the game. North Korea is going to lose so much population they won't be able to compete. So I think um, they're actually gonna uh, come to terms and actually start reunification. They're gonna give what they're gonna give what's his name? They're gonna give him like a few $1 billion, like $1 billion, a couple of $1 billion, and tell him, okay, you go chase women and have a good life, and we're gonna actually settle all this because you're costing us more money. The females are not taking over. Okay. Uh, Females can't take over. What the thing is, a lot of what's changing in society is out of everybody's hands. They can't control it. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to organically reorganize society and how families are built because your environment has changed. And if you start looking at it, it's not just us. If you look all over the West, and even not beyond the West, Korea, China, Japan, in Asia, that have the wrestling with the same. India is wrestling with the same thing. So the thing is not has nothing to do with the society or their managers. It's out of their hands. It's the structure that Western civilization is built on. That's actually changing the environment and changing the way people organize themselves. And they've been trying to hold on to traditional marriage for like 100 years, and they can't. So they basically going to give up and basically let the chips fall where they may. So I do believe they're going to most of the protection that women have now, as far as the courts and stuff like that, is going to be eliminated within the next 15 years. That's just me, just me looking at it, because you can't hold it together. You can't hold it together because if you keep this up, your men are going to rebel, and you're going to what you try to do to hold a society together is going to fail. You're trying to hold, you're trying to keep control of society. What happens if the society disintegrates? And that's what's going to happen if they keep trying to pull in too tightly. Yeah, yeah. The price of gold, it probably will be high because Russia and China are starting to hoard it again. So if you think there's gonna be a trade war of any kind, then gold should go up. Well, the thing is, they're tired of being under every time North Korea goes off, basically Seoul Korea gets nervous because that's where the first nuke's gonna hit. Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. Well, so how did they take it, El Quizzle? Most people get scared. Oh, they agreed. Yeah. And when you look at it, because like I said, there's a lot. Man, there's a lot of. There's a shit ton of books, man, that I need to get to. There's a shit ton of books I need to get to, and finding time is just hard, especially with YouTube. Just a shit ton of stuff I need to get to. So I always look at I don't know enough, or I haven't read enough, or I haven't kept up enough, and things. Um, I wish the current events was kind of slow down a little bit so I can actually get to other stuff. But the thing is, what am I currently reading? Currently, I've read it. I'm re-listening to what's it called? It's a book by Leah Leah Ahmed, and talked about the bankers that broke the world, and going over the crash of the actually the precursor to the crash of the 30s, where the whole world just went into a depression right after World War One. So I'm going over that again. I haven't read it since haven't read it in almost 10 years. Yeah, they're gonna have to rearm themselves. Well, they're not. Well, because the U.S. is it's not that they protect themselves against anybody. The thing is, Pax Americana is starting to fade, and the United States used to guarantee peace. They can't do it anymore. Man, I am too old to even think about building a colony on Mars. That's for young folks like you. That's I am too doggone old. Even though SpaceX is like not like the only a few miles from here. Yeah, because remember because I remember driving by there was a few months ago because I had never seen it, and I'm because I was going someplace, I was looking for something else. I rode by, I said, "Damn, this is SpaceX." and you would never know it just by looking at it. It lowers the finance. Thank you, Extended Clips, because I just finished re-listening to White Trash, and another book I just finished listening to um, is the Indigenous Peoples History of the United States, which is, if I would say for right now, if you read White Trash and read People's History of Indigenous People of the United States, those are like bookends, man. Those two books go together so well. They like kind of like merge, and you get a true history, the true history of the ugly side of the United States. Like Howard Zinn's book kind of touched on it, but it's nowhere close to what those two books do, because they focus on one segment of the population. I had no idea there was 75 million indigenous people here when the United States landed. Now there's less than I think with the last count there was like maybe 3 million. They had basically eliminated most of the Native Americans down to like 680,000. Now they're just starting to come back. Well, if it was, yeah, when they decide to release it. Yeah, I need to finish that. In fact, I had a guy, a friend of mine from the DOD. He says, "When am I going to actually finish the series?" So I need to go back and finish that series. I might. I might. Those kind of books are kind of hard to review. Yeah, well, the book. Yeah, the book's on Amazon. It's the book was printed in 2009. You probably can find it for cheap. You might be able to find it in a PDF online. Actually, extremely good book. In fact, it was so well done. I think he got a Pulitzer Prize for that year for 2009. He got it was done so well because right after 2007, 2008, same thing I did. We found out we didn't know enough about the gold standard. We didn't know enough about finance to actually understand it. So he did the same thing I did. You had to go back and research that stuff, which is why he did it. You know, and the thing is, it's not the what, because most people focus on the who and what, but never the why. And basically, the why is what he focused on, which is something I would have done. Excellent book. That and Gold Dollars and Power. Read if you because one is about the gold standard and the other one is about Gold Dollars and Power is about the Bretton Woods that followed. I did read Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It's been a while though. That is an old book. That's like what 12 years old? Was it 2000? I'm going to say 2004, 2005, maybe older than that. I think one of my buddies actually interviewed interviewed him. No, I don't know. There are three now. They might if they really. The thing is that the Native Americans culture has been so destroyed, man. Um, and they have they just I didn't know that the Wounded Knee was basically the last battle, and basically in 1971 after Wounded Knee and Homeboy went to prison for shooting at I think it was the FBI agent that he killed. Basically they went to court, and I think they kind of left the Native Americans alone. But man, for about 400 years, man, they just slaughtered them, man, and killed them and poisoned them and all kinds of stuff, man. It's just one of those, it's just one of those books, man. You realize, man, if black folks could have gone that way, easily could have gone that way. And Goldman Sachs wants to discourage gene therapy because the problem is overpopulation. Confederacy of dunces. You know, you know what, cats? Be honest with you, boomers really want to be proud of. They really want to be proud of millennials. They want to be proud of their children so badly, you know. And I know it comes out negatively. You know, we want you guys to be successful so badly. I think that's the biggest thing because you guys millennials are supposed to be better than us. You know, that's what that's what I used to preach to my kid. My son grew up. He said, "Dad, I want to be just like you." I said, "No, you want to be better than me. I'm not raising you to be just like me. I'm raising you to be better than me." I said, "Do I think it is plausible that the black race will be no? Because you got a billion black people. Okay, you have a billion black people. Now, as a culture, perhaps, but as basically our culture's been exported to the continent. So no, it's not going to happen. They're doing this. I was looking at the some of the with Nollywood, the series about reality TV shows. Our culture's been exported. So no, black people aren't going to be eliminated. Yeah, well, the thing is, if you don't have people dying and you still have people born, you're gonna have a population explosion because they said you should peak out at. They said the Earth should peak out at like 11 or 12 billion people and then reduce. No, it's not no profit and wellness. The thing is, you can always put those people back to work. If you want to, if you want to profit it, and you just charge the seniors $1,000 a year just to stay for gene therapy, if that's what you want. I don't know what they're whining about. You know, the oldest millennials like 34, 35 years old. You know, if you're talking about with Gen Y, the oldest Gen Yers in their mid 30s. You know, uh, basically, if you're 35, you're settling down. If back when I came from, I'm not familiar with Dan Calloway, so I couldn't tell you. No, they won't be eliminated, but I think their population will shrink, so they'll become mostly insignificant, and which is what they fear most of all, being insignificant. Yeah, yeah, basically because you're in crisis. The whole nation's is going through crisis. The whole world's going through crisis, and they're trying to, basically we have chewing gum and baling wire holding the system together. So so basically, it's gotten so big and so out of hand that you see a lot of people throwing up their hands. If you look at all the congressmen resigning, and because they know how bad it is, and it's not there's only like I said, there's only a few things that you can do. What's the zennial? Well, the thing is, it depends on who you classify it, how you classify it. Anybody born after 1982, which is the Generation X, is classified by demographers as millennials from 82 onward. From 82 to 2000 is millennials. That is probably the fairest point because you have to cut off the Generation X. Gen Xers actually cut it from 1965 to 82, and right after that are the millennials. So demographers say from 1982 to 2000, you're in the millennial generation. So the youngest millennial should be right 18, 19, about 19 years old, you know, give or take, and the oldest millennial should be right around 35. Depending on who you say, 36. It should be turning 36 this year. So they've had plenty of time to settle down and get something going. Well, most of the boomer, a lot of your boomers are dead already. I don't know what they're complaining about. A lot of your boomers are dead already. Boomers are too old to affect change. The thing is, we're shaking our head. The thing is, we're shaking our head because, like my daughter, I'm still raising my daughter. She's 30 fucking years old. Okay, I'm still raising her. Google is a lie. Okay. Is there an escape plan? Uh, if you want to go through, basically the only escape plan, there is an escape plan, but the thing is, that's a lot of risk. It's a lot of miles. Basically, for me, go across the board, head to Guatemala, and that's the best thing. Is the escape plan is to leave well before it actually happens. That's the escape plan. You want to be gone before it happens, and hopefully the contagion doesn't hit the rest of the world. No, actually, it depends on because they haven't identified it. But demographers actually, from what I've seen, actually cut it off at 1982. So if you're born after 1982, you're a millennial. You're in that generation. Because the only solid generation that they actually logged in was actually the boomer. Boomers are the only really um, highly defined generation because they were so unusual. Not really. Boomers haven't failed anything really. People failed from what? What did you have before the boomers? If you start reading history, you find out history is not as neat and clean as you think it is. Just because you see movies and TV shows about the 1950s, that's actually bullshit. Before the 60s, before the 60s, most of the country was still reeling from the depression. You know, if you want to talk about it, depression era folks actually the ones that screwed the pooch big time, and they were reeling from it. There's a lot of things that went on because everybody's been trying to control the boomers. Now they want to blame everything on them. But Yellen and tax cuts. Janet Yellen is gone, but tax cuts have to come because you've overspent. You're already in debt, and you haven't really had the tax cuts are strategic, actually, to start bringing back industry and intellectual property back into the United States. But if you want them to do that, you got to pay them. That's what the tax cuts are for. If you want to maintain some kind of status, you have to pay the military. That's what you're paying them for. So who's going to get caught in the crossfires? People. Now, how much money can you take from the peasants? That remains to be seen. No, people aren't going to stand for it. Privatize the internet. I don't think people will stand for it. You privatize it as much as you can already, and there's too many other industries that are based on the internet. So no, it's not going to happen. They're making money. Regardless of whether you're making it up, Ruby, or not. Okay, regardless of whether you're making it up or not. Um, they have to basically you can't have a 3 year cohort. A cohort has to be at least 5 years. You can't have a 3 year cohort. So you're going to have to be blended in with one or the other. So they basically lumping you guys into the millennials because you came of age in the year 2000. Actually, during you had more an investment in infrastructure and education, and from 1960 on, you had ton more schools were built, more colleges were built, more people graduated from high school. I was just looking at a video. Um, Basically, only 50%, half your people were literate in the country before prior to like the mid 60s. They were not just uh, functionally illiterate. I mean, illiterate. You know, most men did not graduate from high school. Most black men, black boys, did never went past the eighth grade. So you made so as far as education, 90 like 98% of all black boys or black males get their high school diploma at one time or another. Uh, uh, no, African American. That's the whole thing about African Americans. They're not native to America. But the thing is, um, there's so many mixes. If you are a Native American, okay, let's put it this way, Aaron Ferris. If you're a Native American boss, then you are a population of less than 3 million. Okay, because 75 million were here when white folks got here. There's less than 3 million of them now. So if you want to be part of that group, go ahead. Well, Japan and Germany had to rebuild from nothing, and plus we're talking about much smaller countries. And no, it doesn't matter what you consider yourself. It's you don't determine yourself. The thing is, the demographers determine your generation. Oh, that's what they call themselves. But they also went through the depression. So what are you going? What do you say? You say about them? Yeah, in the '70s it was paid for. There's a whole reason for that. You start locking up people, and that's where the money went. When you start locking up people. No, if you were Aboriginal, you probably still say part of your tribe. Okay, you didn't get amalgamated with other black people. Either you're part of the tribe or you aren't. All you gotta do is take a freaking DNA test. That'll tell you. So all the people saying to go take a DNA test and test it against all. You have enough people that are here. Well, they all did, but I'm saying is they what they want to say is they didn't come with the what Pacific trade slave? What are you talking about, man? United there was the United States wasn't the United States didn't have a Pacific coast until like the late in like the 1870s. Okay, they didn't have slaves on the West Coast unless you're talking about and basically the Spanish that's basically enslaved the native population that they could, which where they weren't very successful. Well, then if DNA is bunk, then you don't have a leg to stand on. You don't have a leg to stand on. Then the whole talk about who you are and what you are is moot because you can't prove it. And what if they don't believe it? Then you don't. But the thing is, if you don't believe DNA tests, then you can't believe any of the history books. You can't believe any other study. You can't do. If you don't believe any of the science, either you believe that or you don't believe any of it. It's one of the two. Well, that's what it says. If you don't believe the test here, go to fly to China and have it done. You don't believe them. If they can create if they can create artificial human beings, then they know what the fuck they talk about as far as DNA. What you look like doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean nothing. I trust and believe. I've seen it. I got two aunts that are basically what they call fraternal twins. They look exactly alike, except for one has red hair, green eyes, and red skin. The other one is pitch black with dark eyes, dark skin, and dark hair. Well, the thing is that you asked me my opinion. If you want to believe that, you can believe it. I don't care. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't mean anything. It has nothing to do with it. Specific trade slaves happened in Central America. What are you talking about, man? Where they bring them from? Black Torch. Where they bring them from? Well, they don't believe in him. Oh, they don't believe in him. They will pay them child support for the course of DNA. That's true. That's funny. That is very true. They were opposite. Yeah, I come from a family, man. You can what they look like. In fact, my girlfriend, her mother was dark, her sister was dark, her father was dark, but she had red hair and green eyes, and I could not figure that out. Same father, same mother, could not figure it out. Her look at her aunts. Her aunts are all dark until I saw her grandfather. Said, "Oh, that's where it comes from," but you can't tell just by looking at people. If that was the case, then well, don't reason with him, Smooth. The world's too big, man. The world is too big, and this is just a fishbowl. This is just a fishbowl. If Dane was that important, Dane would have a huge platform. He'd be, he don't have a huge platform. He just a dude on YouTube, man. The world is bigger than that. The world is bigger than that. Like somebody blocks me, man, I don't go back to their channel. You can what? What are you talking about, Demetrius? He wasn't talking about you in particular, Demetrius. You could take it. Yeah, it both came out. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if they're splicing DNA, so to say that it's not to say that it's not accurate, unless you're like inside and you're like a molecular biologist and you're doing it and you can tell me something. Why would they go to the Solomon Islands to get people to work at the plantation when they have more people in Africa? Central America, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Were you talking about something recent, Black Torch? If that's the case, that happens all over the world. That's still happening. I'm wearing much for both. Oh, okay. Oh, well, how come they won't talk about it? If they're educated like that, Adrian, how come they won't talk about it? They should be glad to talk about it. Probably my aunt, since she's got the green eyes and the red hair. You know, my grandmother had what, three husbands, so and three, four. Oh, black men kind of died back then because her first husband died. She had nine kids, and all her husbands died. They black men in Louisiana didn't last too long, but my I got an aunt. We call her Red. She got red hair, green eyes, red skin. So that's probably as close as we're gonna come. Other than that, I don't. I couldn't tell you. We're from my folks are from northern Louisiana, not southern though. Who was RB Radio? Oh, yeah. Well, I don't want to deal with fruitcakes. Hey, Angel, what's going on? That's the cult following. What's saying is, I'm talking about major folks. Basically, a lot of this stuff is. Oh well, yeah. That's always that kind of stuff always happens. It's happening. It's happened. It's still happening on the continent of Africa. It happens amongst Mexicans when they try to cross the border. So a lot of that stuff still goes on. Yeah, black men did. If you basically if you wanted to survive as a black man in the South, man, you had to leave. Yep, that's it. My grandmother lived maybe was it 3 miles from Centenary College when she was alive. Well, DNA is a word. Yeah, well, it's not a word. It's an acronym. It's actually an acronym. Well, if they didn't believe it didn't happen, they have to prove that it didn't happen. If it's not a matter just to say it, you have to prove it. A lot of people say stuff. My ice is colder. I heard that, bro. DNA is fake because I say so. Yep, and a lot of people say so. And I remember one guy he was on. He was talking about Aboriginal black people. So I asked him what proof he had, and he gave me his proof, and and I gave mine. We started talking about DNA and that kind of stuff. He says, that's white man science. I said, okay. I said, well, so what color is the guy that wrote the book that you referencing from, and the video that's in the person in that video? What color is he? Dude got off. He left. He didn't want to answer that question. Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, black people want to protect their jobs. Adrian, a lot of people want to protect. I know how that is. They want to protect their jobs. So that's what I say. I talk about stuff that people won't talk about, which is probably why I get a lot of people that listen because I will talk about it because it's out there. It's just not all in one place, and I don't even talk about half of it. Well, probably not even 90% of it. And what are you talking about, Golden Eagle? If you're if you're a Native American, because a lot of slaves, a lot of black people did intermarry with indigenous people when they were brought over because they couldn't interbreed with white women, so they interbreeded with a lot of Native Americans. So you could have Native American blood. I know a lot of people have Native American blood. In fact, that's what Oklahoma's supposed to be. That's like when Black Wall Street was able to be established because it was supposed to be Indian, Black and Indian territory because they had a lot of black folks had intermingled with the indigenous tribes. So you can have indigenous blood in you, but that doesn't mean that you don't have African in you. I think I think they're afraid of it. I think they're afraid of it. You have to make your peace with it. Uh, yeah. Well, either you accept it for what it is, or you don't accept it. You can't have both because the books that you read are actually rewritten by white people. So unless you can actually read the original text, then you're basically reading the white man's language because there are no Hebrew texts or other texts that were written in English. The English that you use now that they use in the quote unquote King James Bible or whatnot is wasn't invented until the 16th century when they actually changed it over. I think yeah, I think that's to hide black folks' shame. So we reject it and our anger. So the thing is, but you got to come to grips with that. I had to come to grips with mine. I ate a poor boy, but I never really lived there for very long. Even though I was actually born in Texas, and my mother was raised there, and I have family there. So I think I might have lived there for maybe when I was a little kid for a few months. But that's my knowledge of Louisiana. But I did eat a poor boy when I was in New Orleans. They don't have poor boys are like a southern thing. They don't really have it that much in northern Louisiana. It depends. I think I'm more the fool's kryptonite when I get them one on one. Yeah, I think so. I think well because of the harsh treatment, you know. And po' boy, yeah, yeah. Well, I know I say po' boy. Yeah, they are peasant food. Well, all that stuff is peasant food. Uh, well, black is not a race. Black is a classification that was given to us. It is a mix of people that it was given to, all the way from mulattoes, which are mixed white and black, and all the way down to whatever. So black is a designation. Yeah, they are kind of like hoagies. Uh, Orleans, it's close, but no, it's not that close, but it's close. Oh, Orleans, yeah, Inglewood. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Orleans is there, but maybe a mile away. Let me check my email, see if Michael is around. No, he's not going to show up. Kenneth Thomas, I should say. Kenneth Thomas, see if he's around. Yeah, well, it's slave food. It's like chitlins and hog maw and all the other stuff that I don't eat. Uh, Greens, you got to get the corn grits and or what we make cornbread out of and the greens. Wild greens, you have to soak. Yeah, but you threw away chicken wings. Yep, and chicken livers and the skins, all that stuff, and black people make delicacies out of it, which fascinates people to this day. I don't know. Now, normally he would show up. I don't like chicken livers. No, oh no, not you, Mike. I meant Kenneth Thomas. No, Kenneth Thomas. No, not you, Mike. Mike, Mike, we agree too damn much. Okay, me and you agree too damn much. The only thing we disagreed on was who did it. Was it the Russians or the deep state? That's the only thing we disagreed on, and I still don't know. Neck bones, hog head cheese, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. The one thing I will not eat. There's two things I won't eat. Is okra. Can't stand it, and chitlins. Won't eat them. Won't come close to them. Yeah, they are now. Chicken skin. Yeah, chicken liver and skin. Well, the Asians eat everything. Asians eat everything. Asians eat shit we won't eat. The Asians and the French. Yeah, fat back. Although the Africans say there's a snail that they eat, man, that they cut up and they fry. I don't know if I could do that. Well, I ate rabbit. A rabbit does taste like chicken. Ugh, okra. We can't get. We can't. We're gonna fall out of love, Cass. Talking about okra. Most of the world loves pork, even though it's not good for you. The Orthodox Jews don't eat it. Actually, there's a good reason for Orthodox Jews not eating it. Because pork now is not what it was back then. Pork back then it was pigs had a lot of parasites because they were out there wild. They had a lot of parasites. Nowadays they don't have a lot of parasites. They actually do a good job of cleaning out the parasites from pork, so it's not as bad. Oh, yeah, because they're guts. If they're not killed, they're not cleaned right. Yeah, I think you have to soak deer sausage. You have to soak deer meat to get the wildness out of it. I won't touch chitlins. I don't care how clean they are. Yeah, yeah. Well, Verdi, yeah, the red sauce is okay. Yeah, a Verdi burrito, the wet burrito, the Mojado, the wet burrito with Verdi sauce is okay. I like the green sauce better though. No, well, the Muslims is just an offshoot of Hasidic of the Torah, so they have the same practices. Remember they come from basically the same place. The Muslims and the Jews or the original Jews come from basically the same place. They're both shepherd people. The Arabs are nothing but shepherd people, shepherd tribes. Same thing as the Jews. No, I never ate suya. Yeah, they do eat raccoon. I can't. I haven't gone there. Well, hell, in L.A. we got more. We got tons. We got raccoons and possums here running across the street getting splattered. No, no, ASMR, no. Mukbang. No. He's not going. He was meek as a mouse. Yeah, Kenneth Thomas was meek as a mouse when he was on here last time. Now I was going to ask him, was he a man of his word? I've had shark meat. Shark meat is really fishy. Shark meat is really fishy. I mean, really fishy. Well, you get parasites from anything. Uh, uh, Raccoons are scavengers, so you know you're gonna get parasites. Gun rights, they're not going anywhere. Guns are a religion in America, so they're not. It's not going anywhere. That's where they spread to. Okay, and originally there were nothing but African people, but they spread out over what 200,000 years. They're gonna spread out. Actually, more long going back further than that, depending on how far back you're gonna go. Yeah, frog legs. Yeah, most things do taste like chicken do to most folks, most meats, unless it's the bigger game. Because you eat wild game, you can tell it's wild game. You know what the best burgers are actually buffalo. Buffalo meat is probably the most tenderest meat I've ever eaten. If you ever get a hold of buffalo meat, they make the best burgers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are scavengers. Anytime you eat scavengers, you got to be careful. Yeah, yeah. I think that's only because 2 billion by 2030. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I love chorizo. Chorizo and egg, especially chorizo on egg. Never ate ostrich. Portobello mushrooms, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, unless it's very cleaned up. Well, a lot of meats, any meat can have parasites. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, but they're under the water, so they're less likely to have what we call the worms that prey on people. It's been a while. I've had deer meat, but the thing is, it was actually soaked. I think you have to soak deer meat in vinegar. Nah, not tacos, man. Burritos, chorizo and egg burritos. Used to have them all the time down on Olivera Street, where all the Mexicans are, man. Those were good. Although the Guatemalans actually do I think Guatemalans cook the Mexican food better than the Mexicans do. Yeah, lobsters like cockroaches of the ocean. That's true. If you want, from what I hear, you have to soak deer meat to get if you want the wild taste out of it. Unless you like the gamey taste of the meat. That's what I hear. So everybody else that's ever served it to me said they had to soak it. Well, he's Joker. He is a joke. Kenneth Thomas is a joke. I'm listening to the dude, and it's like, um, I don't know how to explain it, Kenneth Thomas. He reminds me of like a 17-year-old man playing jokes. He reminds me of like the trolls back in the day when they were kids. You know, same kind of stuff. Oh, L.A. Yeah, you talking about L.A. L.A. is expensive. You don't want to move here. Not if you want to live happily. Uh, Now if I like invite the panel on, I'll be here for a couple hours. I don't want to be here for another couple hours. Well, yeah, yeah. Basically, Gemini, he's dude's kind of getting out of hand. It's getting silly. LA is expensive. Okay, it's nice if you can afford it. But if you can't afford it, man, LA is not really the place to be. You're gonna struggle. Yeah, you're gonna struggle. Never ate Kobe beef, but I can swear by buffalo. Kobe beef is expensive as hell. No, it's not walkable. At least not. At least not now. It may be later on. Once the automated cars come in, automated driving comes in, it won't be as bad. And then you have zones. LA is just too big. Yeah, California is pretty much done for black folks. I would say that. And you got white folks from the interior of the country coming here all the time because it's where the jobs are. Yeah, $1,100 apartment, that's rather cheap in LA. Oh yeah, you're gonna see 10 cities all over the place. Little Hoovervilles. Yeah, that's 1,200 is about right for one bedroom in Hawthorne. Yeah, $1,100 sounds about a single. Yeah, like a student single. Yeah, Marina Valley. Yeah, Marina Valley is like I think Marina Valley is like 80 miles away from downtown Los Angeles, something like that. Yeah, yeah, get out of Dodge. Yeah. Um, I think my children are waiting for me to move so they can follow me. The thing is finding a job. It'd be better to live someplace else if you can find employment. I think that's going to change. If they don't want their young people to leave, they're going to have to change it. So they're starting to change a lot of their zoning laws. But the thing is, for them to change the zoning laws without the traffic getting bad, they're going to have to go to self-driving cars. So I think this will be the first city that have. Yeah, that would make sense, Captain. If you're going to go work for SpaceX, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, it is like that. The only thing that's holding black folks in NYC is rent control. If they have because they have strict rent control in NYC because they want to keep working a working population. If they don't, everybody's going to have to move, and then New York won't work anymore. You can't have a whole city of rich people. It's not going to work. And then what you have to pay the working class people, it gets so high that it won't make any sense. It's going to drive prices up. So they have to do something about it. Eventually, it'll even out. People should be, New York. People should move out of New York. Just get out of. I know it's hard to find a job, but people should get out. I was trying to get my kids to get a skill so they wouldn't be locked in here, but the thing is, they didn't. So if you don't have a skill, it gets kind of because LA, the city of LA's got 10 million people, boss, and we don't have because of the earthquakes, we don't have a lot of high rises, a lot of high rise buildings like New York does. And plus, we New York, and plus LA doesn't have the transportation lanes like trains and subways like New York does. So the thing is, everything's on the street, and the traffic. If you think New York traffic is bad, man, let them double the size of the people in LA, and then try to get around. Be quicker to ride a bike. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. They've been building like crazy. Yeah. 22. Yeah. 2200. Yep. You guys don't have any more space. LA, you got to be making at least 60 G's. If you're gonna live by yourself. If in New York, you got to make double that. I don't know how to see how people survive in New York City. I really don't. Yeah, New York is older than Los Angeles. Manhattan was set up in the early 18th century. Manhattan. So New York was a colony early in the early 18th century, 1700s. And L.A. was didn't become a well, hell, didn't really become a basically a Western city, the United States, till with the 1850s. So they got like maybe a 150 year head start on us. Chicago. uh, Man, Chicago too damn cold for me. I hear about that hawk. And 4 people to a 2 bedroom. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I grew up like that. Hey, 5 kids and 2 parents in a 3 bedroom house. So, all right, folks. Last questions. No bigger than the kitchen. I heard about the New York apartments. Yeah, well, yeah. People are moving. People have to find someplace else to live. What caused LA's weather and weather, aerospace, and now technology, and the Chinese. Chinese are moving on crazy. They're buying up LA so fast. It's ridiculous. Because the Chinese have bought up maybe a quarter of Los Angeles and maybe like half of Orange County. Yeah, any place is great if you can live there. All right, Simply Deep. Yeah, it's probably already starting. Carmageddon. It's already starting. They can't get rid of cars. They just simply can't get rid of cars. Even a Toyota and uh, what do you call it? They can't they can't get rid of cars. Even the Japanese manufacturers, they don't have any problem getting rid of cars. They can't get rid of cars. Just can't. Depends on what you want to do with it. I would not, personally, I wouldn't do it. I would take over a town that's already got infrastructure. You have to get in water. You got to get all that's, you have to worry about getting in all that stuff and then growing a town. Water, electricity, all that kind of stuff. And infrastructure costs. People don't realize how much it does cost. I wouldn't do it. The rise of AI. It's inevitable. AI will be the future. I mean, it is the future now. It's already taken over, and it's just going to accelerate. It's going to get better, and so it's going to wipe out a lot of jobs. They're trying to slow it down, but they're in a race. So from self-driving cars to actually doing your insurance to your taxes, all that kind of stuff is going to be done by AIs. Oh, you 72 deuce and a quarter. Where you going to drive it though? Oh, you can go places where you can get some seclusion, man, out in the middle of nowhere. Allen Iverson. What about Allen Iverson? What did he do this time? Yeah, it didn't go down as far, Bitcoin didn't go down as far as I thought, but it did go close. So, like I said, anywhere in that range, I actually put up the chart so where I thought it would go. I had hoped it'll go all the way down to the bounce and down to the bottom, but it didn't make it that far down. I think it came within like what $500 or maybe $400 of the bottom before it bounced. So I'm not surprised. So you see a move like that, yeah, you actually start buying in. Nope, I don't think LeBron James should go to the Lakers. I think if he's going to go if he was going to go someplace to win, I said with a young team, I'd say Philly. Philly's further along if they can afford him. Sure they can. Sure they can. They will, Kevin. Ray or Pookie's neither. He's a alpha male. So he's a masters of the universe. They do that shit all the time. Guys at that level, those are just baller chicks, man. That happens all the time. Lakers are gonna be good next year. Cats, why the why the Pelicans will become the new Aints. Well, if you own your own building, that's cool. That's cool. That's what you should. That's what all black people should do. Uh, well, they're already working with it. So whether you like it or not, you're already working with it. You train in it every day. Every time you use Google or Google Home, you train it. You train it. You actually teaching the AIs with all this data that you give them. I don't think you need Hollywood to have any power. I don't think you need Hollywood. I think you can do it without it because you have so many distribution points now. Oh, I'm sure the Pelicans are probably going around saying we it. No, the Knicks aren't there. The Knicks. They need a new owner. There's nothing you can't fire the owner. Well, I believe it. If you can't make the playoffs with Anthony Davis, then you don't deserve to be you don't deserve to be a team, NBA team, and that's real. The Aints might be so, but Anthony Davis is the truth. I've heard about the GPU uh, coming from Nvidia. I've heard about it. If you can't, most people can't get their hands on it though. It would become the seagulls. The new seagulls. That's messed up. Well, he died. He died weeks ago. We can spit on his grave now. He's all right. Probably was raised by a single mother. More than likely, Isaiah. Nah, they're not gonna. They're not dumb enough to trade Anthony Davis. If he leaves, he's gonna leave as a. Anthony Davis kind of remind me of Kevin Garnett. Just stuck. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna jump off here. Thanks for standing in for Kenneth Thomas. I'm sure he'll do a live stream about this live stream later on. Kind of remind me of Big JXX. They kind of run in the same lane. Well, yes. Sometimes you got to leave. Hope New Orleans gets better. New Orleans actually deserve a decent team. They got the Saints. Saints finally won. I think they felt bad for them because they had the because of Katrina, so they allowed the Saints to actually win. Maybe they'll actually. It'll probably take another flood for them to allow the Pelicans to win. Yeah, he's a no-show. I didn't think he would show up, but the thing is, sometimes you gotta speak the devil into existence. nah, he's a sidewalk sweeper. Okay, he can't come in and wash the dish. He's a sidewalk sweeper. He's a little kid. You flip him a quarter, say, man, go out and sweep the sidewalk. They gave Detroit a championship back in was it 2004, and they don't deserve a football championship because they chased off Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders got so frustrated he quit. He's one of the best running backs I've ever seen in my life, and he quit. If you can't do it with him, you don't deserve nothing. Uh, well, they Boogie Cousins deserve it. If Boogie Cousins probably down there eating himself out of shape as we speak, down in the quarter, eating himself fat. I don't know what's up with Donovan's channel. I haven't heard anything. Nah, I'm not going to his channel. Um, MLMs are decent if you know how to work them. MLMs are for selling, not buying. Me personally. But if you got a good product that they're doing a service to people, I don't mind it. Your Pelicans alone. uh, don't tell me you were a Pelicans baller chick, Cass. Sometimes I'll every now and then. Yeah, well, Donovan pissed a lot of people off, but he'll be back when he comes back. When he comes back, I'll promo his channel. If Kerosene can come back, Donovan can come back. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna check you guys out later. I'll see the ladies tomorrow. Yeah, Cass is a unibrow lover. She's probably dating Anthony Davis on the low low. She just ain't telling us. I don't know. I don't know about that, Cats. You might. I don't know about that. You might be a decent baller chick. You doll yourself up a little bit. Stop acting like you're plain Jane. I think Cass is a baller chick on the low low. Anyway, yeah, they did shut it down. Yeah, YouTube did shut him down, so I'm sure probably black women flagged him down. Yeah, black women hated Don. Talking about somebody that hated Donovan Sharp. Black women hated Donovan Sharp. I mean, hated him, hated him. I mean, I mean, he flaunted white women in black women's faces. They don't like that shit. Flaunted them. They hated Donovan Sharp. So that's probably who flagged them. Anyway, I'll check you guys later. Since my boy is a no show, but I'm probably sure I'll hear about him later on. We actually uh see if he'll rebroadcast this one. I doubt it, but we'll see. Anyway, folks, I'm out.